align yourself the right way.
Yeah.
Yes, for example, even the way you are choosing your career, you must choose it in a way that you know that you're not going to be replicated or rather replaced by the machines or whatever tag it is.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I've heard that different conversation, we don't need to repeat it. It's not going to be in the podcast.
No, we can just go with the flow.
Yeah.
Okay, but I was thinking we can talk about the setup on its own.
Yeah, no, the setup is actually nice. Like, I love the portrait. I like those books that are there at the back.
Oh, you mean those ones?
Yeah, it was gonna be nice to actually have them somewhere here. But even with these portraits, I even though I don't know some of the people here, well,
who do you recognize here?
Who do I recognize? I don't know. Let me see. The new physics, the birth of era. I don't know.
But this one looks like an Albert Einstein. Is he?
No. None of these guys look like Einstein.
No. Look at this one. When Einstein was still a young man.
Yes, it does look like Einstein.
When he was a young man.
That's probably Einstein.
Yeah, it could be.
It's just that I think a lot of people know him from his old age when he has grey hair.
Yeah,
but the eyes, that's Einstein.
Yeah.
So we have the chemistry model,
which is nice. It's a nice setup.
Yeah,
For me, it's actually making me realize how science is so broad.
Yeah.
It's not just, when people think about science, they think about things that they're gonna do in the lab.
Yeah.
But science is so broad.
It is.
Absolutely. Just to think that there is a cosmology, which is mostly theoretical science, like.
What is cosmology?
Cosmology. I've been mentioning it to you. Like you see the likes of Big Bang Theory. Like they arise from that concept around the cosmology field. Yeah. One of the prominent scientists around that, as I was mentioning, is Stephen Hawking. Yeah, he was one of the biggest scientists.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So cosmology, in fact, is a field in physics.
Oh, nice. Didn't even know.
Yeah. They study.
I also didn't know such things existed.
Yeah, they study how the world works. Like they from the beginning. They take it to the beginning.
From the Big Bang.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our first ever episode of SA Science Spotlight podcast. I am your host, Clinton Dlamini. I am joined by two brilliant minds here. But before I go there, I'd like to give a huge shout out to University of Pretoria Physics Department, Hartfield campus. That's where we are actually recording today. We have a very beautiful spot here. We're just discussing now about the portraits behind me here. But I'm joined by two brilliant minds. I have Tep on my left. I have Londo. How are you guys feeling?
Hey, thank you, Clinton. Man, I'm feeling well myself. Like I'm excited about this podcast. It's been long coming. Finally, we're here, man. I'm excited.
Londo, how are you feeling?
I am so excited, but at the same time, I feel like I've always wanted to do this, to share science with the world.
Oh, beautiful.
So it's just an amazing feeling to finally get the podcast going. Yeah.
Beautiful, man, beautiful. Are you not jet lagged? I know you just came back from Cape Town. Was it last night?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. But the thing is, when I was in Cape Town, I was actually like, the weather is so windy and it's so cold. Only for it to follow me back home. Yeah. So Pretoria is extremely cold.
Yeah, but I think it's the cold front. I think I saw some statuses on Free State. It's currently snowing.
You know, Free State always, man. I remember when we used to go there to do experiments in Nguake. Yeah, the weather there is insane, like
crazy.
Even around September, you'll find that they go close to negatives sometimes. You'll be surprised. Like Free State is just a different environment.
Yeah, man. Anyway, guys, this podcast, I'm very excited to introduce this to you. The main purpose of our podcast, what we're trying to do is just to make science accessible to the audience, such as the public in general, the students that we have, scientists, professionals who are already doing research. What we're trying to do here is just to bring a world or to build a world that can collaborate between the general and public, with our scientists, with our students. Some of these students are already in science, but they don't really know why they're doing science, or they don't really know where they're going. So that is actually our main purpose of this podcast. We're just trying to build on that. Obviously, we're speaking science. I have two brilliant minds here. Tsepo, you're one of the amazing person I've met, currently doing a PhD in physics. Would you like to give us just a short background on how that came about, your challenges you've had so far, or what exactly are you doing? I know physics is a big thing. Me and you are doing physics, but we're actually doing two complete different things.
Thank you, Clinton. Talking about the people that are in science not knowing why they are in it, I'll say most of my time I didn't know why I was in science. Because I'm going to take it from the beginning, from back home. Okay, by the way, I'm Tsepo Mabelane. I'm from Begasfort in Limpopo. So I studied in a high school just around my home. So when I was in grade 10, I didn't even know whether to choose a commercial stream or science stream. But my big brother, he had an influence on me. He was doing commercial. In fact, he was doing his first year when I was doing my grade 10. So he was like, man, look, you can become a CA. Go for commercial stream. So then you know what happened. Then all my friends from grade 9, like they were all going to science. Then I was like, I looked to the ones who were going to the commercial stream. I looked to the ones who were going to the science stream. I was like, nah. I don't know why, but I'm gonna go to the science.
So peer pressure.
I was like, I don't know, but I'm going
peer
there.
pressure.
Probably. But I was a young man who didn't know what is what, like how to think on his own and stand for what he believes in. I didn't even know what I was believing in that moment. Yeah. So for me, I was never in a position whereby I instantly knew what I wanted to do. Many people maybe at the early age, they know I want to be a medical doctor, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a what. Yeah, but for me, it was never a case. I just knew that I'm going to study and I'm going to have a nice car, I'm going to have a... those were the things that were in my head.
Okay.
So then there I was in grade 10. I obviously I was doing well in school. In fact, I was one of the top students there.
Nice.
So yeah. In fact, one of the calculations that I got was I was the top 5, one of the top 5 students in grade 10. I remember.
Nice.
So all throughout my high school, especially from grade 10 till grade 12, I've always been the
top student.
one of the top students.
Makes sense why you're doing a PhD.
In fact, in fact, I believe because I'm gonna come to that. What pushed me to even get this far.
Okay.
Yes. So then I went to grade 9. I mean, not grade 9. I meant grade 11. So I went to grade 11, and still I don't know what am I gonna do.
Yeah.
And then I went to grade 12. Then when I got to grade 12, then that idea of what I'm going to apply for, I start to entertain it. Then, okay, already I'm in science. My brother, who I truly trust his judgment, obviously, he always guided me. He was like, whatever course you choose, man, it must be an engineering. It must be an engineering.
Was that your brother who said you could be a CA, or it was
Yeah. No, it was that one.
Oh, because already
yes.
You are in science.
No, in fact, I have 2 brothers. The other one, in fact, he was happy that I was in science. When I was in grade 10, he used to even help me to say, okay, this is how you solve it, the simultaneous equation and what. Yes. Yeah, so both of them, they're amazing. They're amazing brothers. They had a huge contribution into. In fact, at some point, I went astray when I was a young man. Just being there, not having the future was not there. Yeah, but my 2 brothers, they were always pulling me back in the right direction.
But I really love how they were really invested in their education.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people, they decide on their own, you know what, I think I'm going to go for the science route. But for them to be invested in terms of, I think you should be doing this, I think you should be doing that, I think that was very good.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah, so then there I was in grade 12. Then I started to entertain the idea of becoming a chemical engineer. I was like, okay, I'm going to apply for chemical engineering. So I applied to UJ for chemical engineering. In fact, they're doing, you start with a diploma if you want to do chemical engineering.
Okay.
Yeah, so then I applied. So then a friend of mine in grade 12, one day we were just sitting, having our regular conversations, arguing there and there. He was like, do you know about forensic scientists, man? I was like, no, I don't know. Tell me. Then he started telling me. I was fascinated about forensic science, as a concept, how they solve the crimes and so on and so on. So from then I was like, okay, let me go and do my own research and see what is this thing.
Yeah.
So then when I was doing my own research, I saw a huge link between biochemistry and forensic science.
Okay.
Yes, so my brother, the one who was influencing a lot, he was studying at TUT Garangu. So I knew that if I go to SMU, it's a Health Sciences, that's where I studied my Bachelor of Science. all the way to masters. So I knew that, okay, I'm gonna be closer to him. Life is convenience, in fact, having someone you know around and so on. So biochemistry is at SMU, I know, but I just didn't know that it's called a BSc in life sciences. I just didn't know that part. I just thought I'm gonna go there. The major thing that I'll be doing is biochemistry. That's it. Like I think the prospectus that time, like, it didn't make sense to me.
Yeah. Actually, I think we went to SMU. I just to interject there. Their prospectus was not making sense at all.
No,
when
definitely.
I went there, it was just a lot of physics and whatnot.
Yes.
But yeah, man, continue.
Absolutely. No.
Also, you know when you mentioned the fact that you were almost going to you were thinking about chemical engineering as well.
Yes.
Do you know what chemical engineering is known as in the streets of TikTok?
No.
You guys should search and comment what is chemical engineering in the streets of TikTok.
It is a name.
They use it usually if you find comments. You see the search bar when you open the comments on TikTok, and they write chemical engineering. So they just search for what they mean by chemical engineering. It's actually not a degree. They actually think chemical engineering is witchcraft.
What?
So that's what chemical engineering is in the street of TikTok.
No, let's be honest. Sorry to interrupt you. Don't you think science is witchcraft though?
To a certain extent, especially
we touch base on that.
In fact, like, especially just looking at what I'm doing in the moment, which is the nuclear materials. Like we look at the very essence of an arc form and so on. You can tell, man, like crazy. But we'll touch bases on that. So then the prospectuses were talking. Any SMU, someone who can change that. If you still haven't changed, please look into that. Then I thought that is what I'm going to do. Then I chose my BSc in life sciences when I got to Sport Complex to register. Okay, so mind you, the chemical engineering that I applied at UJ, they called me while I've already registered at SMU. They were like, no, you can come to register. I was like, I'm fine there. So but then something strange was happening when I was at SMU. So everyone was like invested into getting into medicine.
Of course.
Like then I was like, at first I was like, okay, maybe it's just a few people, and then I started interacting with some of my seniors, like the third years, the honors. I could tell even themselves they still want to go into medicine. I was like, what's happening? What am I doing actually? Then I will, in fact, when I was asking, like, I will ask about the job opportunities. What are we doing after this, man? Most of them, like, they just had no idea of what's next after this.
The people who are doing like your BSc.
My BSc, especially the ones who are already in advanced stages, like your third year or honors, because I would expect for them to at least have an idea of where they're headed. So in terms of the first years, definitely most of them, it was just a bridging course to medicine or other medical courses. So which is expected because Sefagoma Health Sciences University is a medical university, right?
I mean, she's doing medicine.
It's a medical university. Like BSc, like I don't think is being given much attention as it should be, because they already have it. So why do you have it if you're not going to give it attention?
I also actually have a question, right? So you did mention that a lot of people, even when they're doing their honors, they don't know what's next. So is it a problem of maybe there are not a lot of job opportunities, or maybe there's not a lot of knowledge with what a person can do with a BSc degree, and maybe the kind of things they can branch into the future?
That's my thinking. I think BSc, I always say, I've already mentioned it to you, when you are doing BSc, we anticipate that you're going to become a scientist. So you can never be a scientist after going to school for 3 years. Just imagine. Like, what do you know? Like, you can't even research. Mostly, like, as a BSc student, that's where you're headed to be a researcher. You see, maybe obviously we don't have so many laboratories or firms whereby they're gonna need technicians and so on in the country. Like we know that, but one route which is much open is you becoming a scientist, becoming a researcher, being in academia. So most of us we struggle to grasp that concept that we need to be in academia when we're doing BSc. Yeah, so but in the future episodes, I hope you're gonna have some people who will
give more.
more information on that.
provide more
Yeah, because
insight about
for
it.
now I'm just
You
putting
know,
up
for me, Londo.
information on
provide
that.
more
Yeah, because
insight about
for
it.
now I'm just
You
putting
know,
up.
for me, Londo, you know what I think, right? I think first, our departments, the universities are not marketing it well enough. Like, for example, SMU, well, I've been at SMU for the past 10 years, funny enough. When you are doing BSc, we don't have a lot of sponsorship. Like you guys with in med school, you have sponsorships such as Investec, right? They come and they give you guys the guidelines about the finance and all those. So I think with BSc in general, we don't have a lot of sponsorships, people who are actually exposed to give us more. What can you do if you're specializing in biochemistry? When you are doing anatomy, when you're doing physics. So it's a matter of knowledge. We don't have enough knowledge. Yes, we don't have enough knowledge to learn. What can you do with a degree? Of course, with what Seppo said, if you did it 3 years, you can't expect to get a job. I mean, 3 years, it's like, in BSc, 3 years is an entry level. You need to go to your honors, you need to do your masters. Absolutely. At least when now you're in master's level, you are interacting with other people who are in the same field as you. Now you are sharing the same knowledge, you are sharing what they're doing, then now you start collaborating through research. So I think the most important thing is knowledge. We need to make sure. I like the fact that now we have this podcast. We're gonna be bringing a lot of people who are going to be sharing a lot of knowledge in different fields: biochemistry, forensic science. There's a lot of things. I recently learned about other courses in BSc that I didn't know about.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like your biomedicine. Actually, you are a med student, but there's also a course called biomedicine. Which is actually a BSc. And not a lot of people know about that.
Also, there is a medical physics. Actually,
Exactly.
I'm interested in knowing more about
We actually do medical physics as
Really?
I did medical physics in first year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
Guys, do you want to hear something funny?
Yes. Yeah.
So my grandfather, he's a scientist, right?
Yeah.
During before 1994.
Yeah.
So he went on a scholarship to America to study there.
Wow. Okay.
I've never seen him. He never came back.
Ever since.
We see him on social media.
Is he still alive?
Yes.
And you've never seen him. He's on the media. And that's your grandfather.
Yes, and he's
That's
a qualified
crazy.
scientist. Like,
So,
doing great in the science.
but
spotlight.
do you guys communicate maybe through socials? Now we live in the world of socials. Nothing.
Facebook, yeah, but.
Yeah, but you
So
know,
you
it's
never know.
And at least I just
Yeah.
have to brag and say, oh, yeah, my grandfather is
He's
a
a
scientist
scientist.
in America.
Yeah,
But I've
wow.
actually never seen him. He's actually never came back ever since.
Yeah.
We
Nice.
just talk on Facebook and Skype.
Wow. Interesting. That's a very funny one. Yeah?
So those
Yeah.
scientists who are there somewhere in the world, I come back home, guys.
Yeah.
Come back and bring that science into the
Exactly.
country.
Yeah. Like
We need
definitely.
Elon Musk back. Elon Musk, he must come back.
Yeah, with his billions.
Exactly.
Yes.
But Londo, you strike me as someone who's very brilliant. Coming in with
I haven't finished my
distinctions.
story, man.
Oh,
I can see that it's
fine.
fine.
We'll come back. I think let's just hear what she.
Okay.
Because she strikes me as someone. I want to. You know what I'm trying to do, right? I have you as a scientist. I have you as a math student. I want this story of you guys to like come in. You know, like it blends very well.
I see.
Yeah. But Londo coming in with 7 distinctions. How did that come about? What were you doing, man? What were you doing? 7
Different.
So a lot of people, when I tell my story, do you know what the first thing they say? They kind of come to the conclusion that I attended this wonderful, probably all-girls school somewhere in a private school. But that's not true. Actually, I came from Tengwe High School. Shout out to Venda, a very rural school. And I was raised in the villages, like that's where my journey started. So my thing is, because I used to watch a lot of TV, so there was this channel where they talk a lot about science-related stuff.
Yeah.
At first, I was like,
Which
want
channel
to be.
Is this? Sorry to disturb.
I forgot I was young, eh?
Yeah.
But at first, I was like, I wanted to be a pilot, and when I wanted to be a pilot, I discovered, Gucci, to be a pilot, you have to see well. You have to have great eyesight, and I was having eye problems at the time, so I was like, I'm changing. That was in primary, and then when I came into high school, I was like, I want to do something astronomy related because I was very fascinated by the stars, the planets, and so on. And then I was like, no man, physics started hitting me when I was in grade 10, when I had, when Tsepo shared his story about going to a science-related stream. So for me, I was very good with commerce, but then I changed to do a science-related stream, geography, physical sciences, and life sciences, mostly because all my friends were there. So I was like, I'm going with my friends. As for me, I am confident that it was peer pressure. So, but I am grateful because at least it led me to where I am right now. So I did science in grade 10, and then I was really bad at physical sciences. And then in grade 11, that's when I started realizing, okay, it's not as bad as I thought, because I had teachers who were like really investing in my education. Like, because if you are there, there's not really much access to anything when you are in Venda, in a village somewhere there. You see a village somewhere in Toyandu there. So there's not much access to education. So in grade 12, they even invested more than they had done in the previous years. And then that's when I started seeing, you can actually get a 70 in physical sciences. Not only a 70, you can get an 80. So even a 90.
Okay, so like those high marks, like they started in your grade 12 or they've been going?
They started after COVID-19 when I was doing my grade 11. So although we were in a pandemic, I actually took some time to actually dwell more into my weaknesses, which were physical sciences at the time. So in grade 12, I actually realized, the weakness has now turned into a strength, because you can give me something science related and I can nail it. So it kind of, now all this science, the love I had for science coming in together and affirming that, I also love you back. You see, because I wanted to do astronomy and all those things, but my marks on physical sciences were saying no. So now it was a matter of, I love science and it loves me back. But now I was really more now obsessed with the medical version of science in life sciences, but I was also really good with physical sciences. So I started investing more in life sciences, and I decided, you know what, I really want to be a medical doctor. Because do you guys ever wonder, like, there's a lot of diseases in the world and there is not a lot of cures. There is medication for those diseases, but there is not a lot of cures. And if you want a cure for a certain disease, it's going to come out from a scientist.
Interesting thing, nowadays they're incorporating AI into solving some of those medical problems. Like recently, I think they found a way of, I don't know, I can't remember whether it's detecting cancer early using AI or finding a way of dealing with cancer using AI, something like that, which was very interesting.
The world of AI is interesting. I like the fact that we're going to speak more about that one, But, hearing your stories, you guys, it fascinates me a lot. Having two different people, like Londo saying, coming from the villages, I just have one question, like, how do you think of astronomy in the villages? Like, you're in Venda. I mean, Venda, obviously, it's all about farming, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But what was that one thing that says, I want to study stars?
I think it's that thing, my grandmother used to sit us outside, from 6 to 10. You are eating outside. In Venda, they call it udzedza. It means to spend time together as a family outside. So they would actually point at the stars and be like, I'm seeing a cow. I'm seeing a what. So it was always fascinating. We would say, okay, we are drawing sketches using stars and someone is seeing a cow. What are those lights up there?
All right. So the whole dream of wanting to study stars came from there. That's actually. Guys, we need to give shout out to our grandmothers. They've played a huge role.
They raised us.
They've played a huge role in where we are now. Some of the things, there are so many theories that they taught us when we were growing up. There are things such as when they are cooking, you can't sit on that. What is this? The stick. Like, if there's a pot, then you have the stick, there's fire there. We used to tell that if you sit there, they were trying to protect us in a way, but we didn't say. But anyway, guys, I like the intro.
No, go into detail into that. I want to understand.
There's
something to it. Okay.
Yeah, there's so many. No, you know what I'm trying to say, right? Let's say here we have fire, and then there's a stick. They used to tell us that you mustn't sit here because in Tonga we say shaila. So shaila, it's like something that I don't even know how to explain it in English. But what they were trying to do now, they were trying to protect us. Obviously, if this is fire, there's a stick here. If you sit here, you're gonna burn. But what they used to do, they were trying to come up with theories to protect us in many
chemical engineering.
Yeah.
Exactly. Chemical engineering, man. So that's crazy, man. This is gonna be interesting. This podcast, what we're trying to do is, obviously, you guys are getting to hear our journeys. Me personally, at the moment, like I said, I'm a lecturer. I'm doing PhD as well in physics, but me and Sipo are not doing the same thing. But what we're trying to do here is to try to bring professionals who are specialized in many skills. Recently, we have data science. I don't know much about data science, and people actually don't even know what data science is all about.
Absolutely.
We have many fields such as your biotechnology. Do you know anything about biotechnology?
Just a
Just
little,
a little bit, right?
A little bit.
Yeah.
I know
I
there's
also know a bit.
A bit.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
there's a big field, like a very broad. Going from the food that we eat, there is a biotechnology involved.
Yeah,
There's
definitely.
also nanotechnology.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nano, it's actually what I'm doing.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
so nanotechnology is like the research that I'm doing currently. I started this from honors level, master's, now PhD. That's basically what we do, but we're more focused on what we call nanomaterials, which is applicable in nanotechnology. For one big example, the light that you see here, it's an LED light. This is an application of our nanomaterials. So those are some of the things that people don't know about, They think science, when I tell people I'm doing a PhD in physics, they're only thinking that it's all about Newton's law, gravity, I don't even touch that. I don't even touch that at all.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm only dealing with chemicals.
The same with me. I work on material science, like those mechanical theorists. I don't know much about them. I only know the ones that I learned maybe in high school, there and there in first year. But more than anything, I deal with solid state physics. Physics on its own, is huge. Like you can't know everything. You'll be specialized. You'll know a certain part, and then that's what. And that part is huge on its own. On its own, yes.
All right, guys. Let's touch base on our second topic that I want us to look at. Yeah. You are in med school now, doing your third year, right?
Yes.
So, what's the future looking like? What do you want to specialize in?
Okay, so at first, when I came into medical school, I actually wanted to do neurosurgery.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of science related in neuro.
Yes.
But after seeing all the things that I saw, I was like, oh my god, the human brain is so complicated, hey? And I actually didn't feel connected to neuro surgery at all, or anything that's neuro related. So I then continued to say, okay, if I'm not gonna do neuro, let me do something related to me, which is gynecology. Hey,
Funny.
guys,
Okay. Yeah.
did I not see things in that word? To the point where I remember I was doing this assignment and we had to observe the gynecology ward for 10 births, right? And then my parents came to pick me up from the hospital, and I just entered that kind. I was like, I'm not going back. You will never see me in that word again. I was angry because I was like, I didn't like any of the things I saw. I don't like seeing people in pain.
Yeah.
So, but then it's a career choice that even though I don't like gynecology or neurosurgery, I'll still continue to do it because it's part of my discipline. So what I want to do now, I'm actually thinking about public health, which is actually exploring different health problems in the country. I feel as if South Africa is so underdeveloped in terms of public health. So you do a lot of research in public health. So I'm really looking into that because I feel like it's something that I would really like to branch into.
Yeah. So if I'm a high school student, I'm doing metric, I hear this big word called gynecology, but I have no idea what that is about. What is a gynecologist?
A gynecologist is a medical doctor specialist. You are specialized. It means it takes about, I think, 8 to 12 years to become one.
Wow.
So if you're a gynecologist, you deal with women health. You're gonna deal with, so gynecology, it moves with obstetrics. So you move with pregnancy, women diseases, all those reproductive women diseases. So you deal mostly about that, and it's one of those career which is very well known, but surprisingly, it is well known. It is dominated by men, and not women.
Wow,
crazy. I think I know the reason.
Wow.
But you can imagine.
So you said it takes 8 to 12 years.
Yeah.
How does that come about? How does it take 8 to 12 years? What are the steps you need to?
Obviously, it's 6 mandatory years of medical school in most of the universities in South Africa. The only university that I know that it does it for 5 years is Free State.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. It's only Free State, and then others it's 6 years, but you can also do an extended program of medicine in which they add an extra year, which is 7 years of medical school. Or you can also, I think VETS is one of those universities that offers you to get into medicine straight to 3rd year.
Oh, is it the JAM program?
Yes, yes. So, but with most commonly you do 6 years of medical school where you're gonna go and study and become a medical doctor. And then when you become a medical doctor, you become an intern doctor. You are still going to work for the government, 2 years of internship, that makes it 8 years now. Then you're also gonna add an extra year doing community serve in a rural hospital. So now you're on your 9 years, right? And then after those 9 years, that's when you can officially say you can begin the process of specializing. Yeah. So when I say 8, I'm also including Free State because for them maybe it would take 7. So that's when you start the process of saying I'm going to specialize and concentrate only on gynecology, because as a medical doctor, after those 3 years, you are known as a general practitioner. A GP, you specialize with every part of the body. You're gonna do head to toe. But with gynecology, you can be doing gynecology and go do a neurosurgery there. So gynecology, you specialize mainly on that.
A female. Makes sense.
So how is Free State doing it for 5 years? What is it that they're doing different from other universities? Because I can imagine anyone would want to finish it as early as possible.
Exactly.
The difference is with Free State, I had a friend tell me, if I'm wrong, please comment and tell me if this is wrong, because I only got it from 2 sources. They told me that with Free State, they do not include physics and chemistry. They don't dwell much. Remember, I also told you that in first year I did medical physics, I also did medical chemistry, medical psychology, and all those things. So they do not start with even. I think other universities also start with meds, like you do meds first year. They want to see, are you really what you say you are? So Free State doesn't do that. They go straight into medicine.
Okay.
So they go straight into doing like your anatomy, physiology.
Okay, so in your opinion, like so far, looking at from where you started and the approach of Free State, do you think is the right way to just go straight into the medicine straight, or that foundation of medical physics, medical chemistry was necessary? Like, what's your opinion on that?
I feel like the way other universities do it, I really like it, because first of all, where would I be knowing that medicine is also science? Because when you are dealing with medical physics, you actually see the science part of medicine. They actually now are measuring, I still remember the talk. Is it talk?
Talk.
Yeah, now
Yeah.
you are calculating all those stuff and you actually get to see that medicine is also a science discipline.
Yeah.
And if you extract that part of medicine, you actually close up opportunities that one person can decide to be a medical doctor and choose the science related part of medicine. Because a lot of people think about being a doctor and they think about, oh, I'm gonna go into the ward, I'm gonna see patients, what about the part of science that needs you to be in a lab trying to discover something? A lot of people don't know that about medicine.
I didn't know myself.
Even myself. Every time when I think of medicine, obviously I think of a medical doctor. We go, stethoscope. Actually, I was expecting you to be having one. Because you guys are always flexing with them. Everywhere you go, you have it here.
Yeah, it's a flex. Even when you're doing something, if you wear a stethoscope, they already know.
Yeah.
They already know.
Some I see their cars, there by the mirror.
Oh,
you will always, if you see a car, there's a stethoscope, you already know it's a medical doctor.
No, man, look, being a medical doctor is a flex. So let's be honest.
Yeah, it is.
So there is this friend of mine. He usually says, "There is God, then there is medical doctors, then he is everyone."
Wow,
so you see.
Thanks, Londo, for sharing that. I think the audience are gonna love some of the things that they didn't know about. I myself, I didn't know that you can actually look at the science part of medicine. So this is beautiful. Tempo, coming to you, doing a big word called nuclear, of which I think in South Africa we don't want to hear much when they talk about nuclear energy.
They think of bombs.
Exactly. You're doing nuclear materials in a PhD, right? What is nuclear materials? What do you guys do? And what are the steps that one needs to do or take to get there?
Okay, so one thing that often people confuse is that I'm doing nuclear science, which is not the truth. I'm only applying a bit of nuclear science there and there, but mostly I'm doing nuclear materials.
Okay.
So it's more of a material science. We're studying a specific material to see its properties, how it can help us to solve the real life problems.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing in the moment, we are trying to improve the efficiency of nuclear reactors and also promote the safety of those nuclear reactors, because safety is one of the concerns about the release of the so-called fission products. Like I don't know if I can take it there to the real science, to the science stage where a uranium atom is being bombarded with a neutron.
Yeah.
Okay, so what happens is that a uranium atom is bombarded with a neutron, a slow-moving neutron. So as that happens, the uranium is going to split into two less massive nuclei. So along the way, it's going to give out 2 or 3 neutrons, which are highly energetic and a lot of energy. So that amount of energy is the one that we harness for heating up our water or the gas in certain instances, so that we can have the steam. Hence attend the turbines as usual. From there is the same process as the coal that we use. So more than anything, from the nuclear we need the energy, the heat. Yeah. So we get it in the simplest way by breaking the uranium atom, which is easy to break.
Okay, so to interject, now you said uranium. I believe this is a mineral, or it's a chemical?
Yes, it is a mineral.
Okay. So do we have enough uranium in the country?
Yes, in fact, in South Africa we do have enough. Africa, various places where they have enough of uranium. Yeah. One of them recently was in the news. What's the name? Niger. The one I think they, to a certain extent, they cut the ties with the French to say, okay, now if you want our uranium, we're going to pay this amount, and so on.
Is uranium the same one you see Black Panther?
That one is what is
What's that?
No, I remember the Black Panther.
What's the name of that?
I know
it's not uranium.
It's not uranium.
Because when you say uranium, I'm thinking about Black Panther.
They just had a name that related to like science and stuff.
Oh,
But
so it's a theoretical thing. Oh, I thought uranium was Black Panther vibe, so I thought maybe you want to build Wakanda here in South Africa.
No, totally.
You went to Russia, was it 2022, right?
It was last year.
Last year. So when you were going there, was it for your PhD studies?
No, actually, it was one of the interventions by our government. So one of the things that people they don't know about the South African government, we have a strong ties with Russia.
Okay.
So there is this other joint institute called the JINR. Okay. So that joint institute is we have South Africa, we have Russia, we have Egypt, and the other countries just around the Russia. One of them, I think, is Kazakhstan. So then the Joint Institute, its purpose is to, they have a huge facility for nuclear science.
Okay.
Anything that goes into nuclear researching is there. So South Africa, we have access to that. So even in my research, most of the experiments, they are being done in Russia because we don't have the equipment here.
Okay.
It's a highly, very expensive research field. Like just to do one experiment, it costs a lot. So in the country, we don't have those cyclotrons or accelerators. So that was about
okay. So Tsepo, I hear you speak big words, nuclear, uranium. I just have one question, which I know is the most difficult question that anyone can be asked. Where can you work? Let's say you have your PhD in nuclear materials, nuclear physics. Where can one work with that particular qualification?
Interesting question.
Yeah.
I'm still asking myself that question.
Wow.
Okay. Okay. So one thing for sure is that, especially in my research, the application already is being implemented. But mostly is the countries that are prohibited, like your China, your I think Germany is one of them.
Okay.
Yes, those countries. So your best bet, if you want to work in the industry, is to go international. And otherwise, you'll end up in academic city.
Okay.
But then, since now with there was a recent meeting.
Is
conference.
it the BRICS one?
No, not BRICS.
Oh, okay.
No, not BRICS. It was just something where our Minister of Electricity and Energy.
Oh, okay.
He had with scientists. Even my current supervisor, he was one of the experts there to advise on the nuclear. In fact, there was a positive feedback from him and the way they were looking at things. So nuclear might become a new thing. It might become a thing in the coming years also. Because to build the nuclear reactors, it takes approximately 10 years.
Okay.
Really? It's that long?
Is that long? Yes. To build the facilities for nuclear is difficult, but then to operate it very easy. Working is a working park and very cost effective. The major cost they come when you're building the facilities. Yes. So you can go into academia or you can go international. But now since South Africa, they're gonna be big thing in that.
Okay, this makes sense. All right, guys, just for a few announcements for the audience, more especially if you are in matric or you are in varsity, you are not funded. Currently, NSFAS is open for you to register or you apply. Actually, it's for application, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's open for application. It's going to run up until the 15th of December. Please, guys, make sure you are sending your applications. NSFAS is open at the moment. Whether you are studying in college, FET, universities, as long as it's public, please apply. That is the announcement that I wanted to make for you guys. Back to you, Londo. You attended SASO Summit. Tsepo, you attended SASO Summit. What did you guys take from that? I think that was one of the most beautiful events I attended this year. What did you take from that?
The biggest thing that I took that day, it was how AI is so
big.
It's just here. And a lot of people don't see how big is AI. The biggest thing that I learned, the biggest thing that I also took home is when there was a gentleman, the one who was sharing about AI.
Oh, yes.
Is it Simon?
Yeah, it was. I call him Simone. They call him Simone.
Simone.
Simone because it's
Simone.
Italian. Yeah.
Catch my
Yeah.
Italian accent.
Yeah, it's Simone.
Yes,
Yeah.
Simone. So when he said that AI is not going to take our jobs,
Yeah.
people who know how to use AI are going to take our jobs.
Which they're gonna do.
Yeah. So when he said that,
Yeah.
it actually made me realize how the world has this vision of AI, and it's not the
Yeah.
correct vision at all. That when he taught us how to use AI to do it, I
Yeah.
went and I actually tried out the things he was teaching me, that I can actually program AI to do something for me and use AI to take your job.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. In fact, on that, like I did the same myself, like following those steps about ChatGPT. At some point, I was teaching our camera crew about what we learned there. Yes, like ChatGPT, like there is a right way of using it, not you just opening a new tab every now and then when you want.
Describe nanotechnology.
Yeah,
No.
because they said the information, when you ask something, the information surfaces. And then if you add another question in relation to that, more information resurfaces. So this is how you should know your way around your ChatGPT and so on. Yeah, so the summit for me, it was beautiful.
It was a
I enjoyed
wonderful.
it. Starting from those motivational speakers,
Yeah.
like, I got fired up after
Exactly.
attending.
Shout out to Sasso.
Yeah,
They did a big
exactly.
job.
Yeah, I think for those that actually don't know what Sasso Summit was about, I think Londo, you can actually give more because this was your second time attending, right?
Yes.
What is Sasso Summit about?
So the summit, it is chaired by Super Lead, by this amazing guy. His name is Dr. Manda Chifularo. So he has, it's a leadership, I think it's a leadership organization where it's called Super Lead, and then they invited Sasol to sponsor the event this year. So in my first year, it was also so good. Actually, we had this guy who worked at Google who came in. He was also so good.
Wow.
So now they invite different leaders from different spaces to come and motivate and to also give insights on what to expect as a leader. So they're gonna bring a pastor, they're gonna bring business gurus, they're gonna bring science gurus, the AI guys and all those things to come motivate. And the most wonderful thing for me, it was that Sasol sponsored it. So it was like this highly sophisticated event in which we paid nothing
Zero.
to gain all that knowledge that we gained.
There was free food, by the way. There was free food.
Free food.
When is the next one?
They do it each and every year.
Okay.
But sometimes they do twice. I'm not sure. But this one, this specific one, they do it once a year in September.
Okay. Perfect. Speaking of AI, so we have Science Week coming on the 30th of September up until the 5th of October. And their theme, I just want to read it perfectly. They have a beautiful theme that says, it's basically, now I'm losing it. They have a very beautiful theme that I think you guys would like to just give your input. It says, living in a high-tech world, should we be concerned? That's a question mark. So Science Week is coming from the 30th up until the 5th of October. Their main theme is living in the high-tech world. Should we be concerned? Should we be concerned?
So that's the question that is posed to everyone.
Yeah.
Okay. So
guys, on your comments, please drop. Should we be concerned? What is your take on? Now we're living with this AI, we're living in high-tech basically. Should we be concerned? Would love to hear your comments, and we can, in the upcoming episode, we can dwell more on that. Bring more people who are specialists in AI, and they can give us more information. Anything else from you guys?
Okay, still on that. For me, I think, living in the high-tech world, you just need to align yourself the right way. Yes, for example, even the way you are choosing your career, you must choose it in a way that you know that you're not going to be replicated or rather replaced by the machines or whatever tech it is. So one of the things that I've heard that like your accounting, let's say becoming an accountant, soon things will be automated. Like it will just insert whatever data they're inserting them.
Okay.
They wouldn't see a need for an accountant. So these are just some of the things that we are in. It's the high tech world. Like we just have to adapt.
Do we need it?
Do we need it?
Yeah.
Of course we
do.
We need it because evolution is necessary. Like we're evolving. It's part of evolution. Like that's what happened. You see, millions and millions of billions of years ago, certain things they happened. Whatever living organisms they were there, probably they said whatever they said. They said that we need what's happening.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yes.
Yeah. Londo, anything?
I would think that I think we should be concerned in terms of the government really needs to do something, especially in our rural areas. ChatGPT, you know how popular ChatGPT is in university. In high school, it's not. So there's a lot of technology upgrades that are happening, but the government is slow, very slow. So we need to get ourselves ready, the world at large, to actually run at the same pace that technology is running.
Beautiful. All right. Thank you guys for this pilot episode. I think this was a beautiful conversation.
Absolutely.
I'm excited with this new podcast that we're bringing into you guys, the audience. Obviously, today you were just getting to know us, me, myself, Clinton Dlamini, Tsepo, Sophie, Mabelan. Why that's Sophie? But we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that.
Yes.
We will be bringing some esteemed guests, people who are experienced, people with big specialists. Look out for that. Londo, do you want to close for us?
Yes, I want to close. And please do not forget that we are live. And we want to give thanks to the place in which we are recording this from. It's the UP Physics Department. Shout out to you guys. Thank you so much for investing in this. And if you also want to reach us, you want to talk to us, please follow us on our socials. We are on Twitter. We are on TikTok. We are also on Instagram. And also do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you want to follow as well, it's SA Science Spotlight Podcast. And we are here to bring you the latest of science-related news, to tell you more about science as a discipline. And from us to you, thank you.
On the next one, out. Whoa. I feel like that should be the intro. That should be the intro.